All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Green White Checkered TV. We are here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway to start race number 10 of 12. So, two more to go after tonight. And we've got a really solid car count tonight. Looks like just about 20 drivers here this evening. I'm going to say hopefully we're going to get at least a 21st car. He's trying to get in as best he can with internet connection issues, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But Andrew, this is the reconfigured Texas Motor Speedway, so turns 1 and 2 very different to turns 3 and 4. And in practice, I was noticing, I think we even talked about it before, trouble turn to me seems like it's going to be that exit of 2. It almost feels like these cars just, that track just almost flattens out and those guys just want to go straight up to that wall.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks that particularly I'm not very fond of. Texas has never really been a great track for me. Just because of what you said, you have two different sides of the racetrack that it's very difficult to try and figure out how your car works on both sides of the track. So you're constantly chasing the car, especially as tires begin to wear and everything like that. So that turn two wall comes up on you very fast. So I'm actually watching Chris Stouffer qualify right now, and I can't believe how close he got to that turn two wall there. You have to be very much on top of your tools, and you have to be very much on top of how the cars around you are racing, because if you really want to take some risks and go forward, you really have to try and push it as best you can. So I think that, especially with this high car count tonight, which I'm very excited to see, I'm very excited that a lot of guys come out tonight. I think it's going to be a measure of patience, and don't just try and do anything too early, but you can't wait too long either, because your tires might kind of get too worn to do anything later on.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Is like I said, I think measured is the name of the game for tonight. So no, it's gonna be interesting to see. And I say we were talking just a moment ago about what the points situation is looking like. We're gonna pull that up on here as well as Craig Forsyth again. And Craig's won 3 in a row, so that's the next step. Is these guys got to find a way to dethrone him. He's got the 3 wins in these last 3 races, which has allowed him to stretch his lead over Matt Wagner to 68 points. Gary Laverne and Charles Steed having a really good fight there for third. Only 1 point between the two of them. However, 118 and 119 off the lead. And then Yari Brupacher there sitting in 5th spot, 141 at a lead. So I'd say right now, to me, without anything catastrophic changing, probably a 2-horse race, I think, between Craig and Matt to the end. And again, unfortunately, Matt has been having some connection hiccups. So we'll see if he's able to even make the green. I'm a little bit nervous about that for him. So we'll have to wait and see. But what I can tell you is it looks like qualifying has just completed. So we're going to pull up our timing scoring, pull up our starting grid, because it's been a little while since we've seen this fella over here. But that Nick DeGroot guy, he's back, and he said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go for a pole position here. So he's going to start on pole in front of Andrew McMurray right next to him. Then you have Edson Santos, AJ Hobson, Jim Herrick, our top 5. Eric Peterson, Charles Teed, Chris Stouffer, Craig Forsyth, Seth Groover, top 10. Casey Pahutsky there, 11th. Jeff Heisong, 12th. Continuing down, then you've got Gary Laverne, Raphael Reynolds, Yari Brupacher, Taylor Reeves, Jim Brooks, William Svensson, Bill Colley, Matt Wagner, Brad Adams, Rick Sanchez, and Joseph DeCiro. So right now showing 23 cars have taken or are entered in the service. Again, though, I think there's going to be a few that I said Matt's kind of a question mark for me. Unfortunately, I don't know if he'll be able to get in quick enough. He might be one of those guys that kind of hops in a little later once hopefully internet issues get resolved. So but yeah, so no, we got some part timers here. Gonna maybe try to spoil the championship lead a little bit here, because again, I mean, they're here they want to win these races too. I know AJ Hobson. I was talking to him a little bit. He's like I'm gonna go get this win and then kind of just go from there and see what else I want to do over the rest couple of the races. So yeah, he's ready to go for it. And we got Raphael Eckert here cheering on Edson Santos. Good to see you, Raphael. Say hopefully see you on track again here soon. But yeah, this is going to be interesting though. Like you said though, Andrew, different strategies. How aggressive do you want to be early? Hearing fuel mileage should be pretty much right on the 3-stop window. It sounds like hearing about 45 laps, so puts them right at 135 on the dot. So we'll see if that comes into play tonight as well.
It's great to see Nick DeGroot just kind of come right back in this series and find himself right on top again. So I think he's not going to let that squander, and I'm pretty sure Nick is in this not for points, not for any sort of fanfare or anything like that. He just wants to go out there and win races. So expect him to be very aggressive with strategy. I don't see it as a fuel safe situation for him. He wants the spotlight and he wants to lead laps here. So if a lot of these races have turned into fuel save races in the last few weeks, as you've seen, I don't think Nick is taking that strategy at all. So you got him up there. You got AJ Hobson, like you mentioned. He's always going for the front. So I imagine that I don't picture these guys whatsoever doing any sort of fuel save this race. This is going to be a full pace and full aggression kind of race. I just hope that some of these guys in the mid pack, especially guys like Craig Forsyth, who you see qualified down there in ninth, understand what's going on. And we may see him try to play some games as we usually do. Christopher is starting right in front of him as well. And he's another guy who just is kind of on a one-off right now, and he's going to want to try and get to the front as best as he can. So this will be a very interesting first few laps here to see how it all shakes out, and just hope these guys mind their boundaries and make sure that everyone's safe.
Yes, and I think this is also a really good opportunity for Charles Teed, Gary Laverne. Like, hey, because it's like if you're Craig, I would think you expect him to just play it safe here. So this is a really good opportunity for him. So we'll see if maybe they try to gain some points, even if it's just on Matt. But what we do have his pace car is off, waiting for that green flag to fly, and we are underway here tonight at Texas again. 135 laps. Looks like so far so good on the start, going up through the gears.
Very much 2x2 going into turn one. There's not a lot of action going on. There's contact right away back there in row 6 or 7 or so. I think.
Oh, the 0-2.
It looked like it was Seth Gruber. Yeah, he was very, very eager to get started. I think he was staying right behind the car in front of him. So, unfortunately, he may not have gotten the best start, but he kept it off the wall. I think he touched the wall a little bit, but he should be all right. But up here towards the front, we have Nick Gruber taking the lead, and we have AJ Hobson already trying to fight Charles Teed on the outside of turn 2.
Yeah, it says it'll be one of those friendly rivalries between the two of them. I think kind of both hanging out on that same Discord, so I'm sure they'll be talking a little bit of smack to each other as they see Christopher there. And again, this is now also going to be, like you said, too, find the lines, find where you're going to have the best grip, and of course the clean air on the front wings of these cars. I can tell you 2 drivers did actually start from the pits. Jari Brupacher, Jim Herrick, both are on the lead lap. So, I mean, on the clean air side of things, they're in a great spot. They got plenty of clean air. There's Jari coming out of 2, Jim Herrick through 1 and 2 now. So, plenty of clean air for them right now. Say, other than them, it's pretty much Nick DeGroot. And like you said, I think his goal here is just, kind of map 1, set sail, and see what he can do. And this will be interesting, too, to see the different lines these drivers run to see what they can make happen here.
When you try and run the high line in turn 1 and 2, you wear that front tire off so much, especially as you're trying to turn. I'm sorry, the rear tire. You put a lot of pressure on that rear tire because you're full drive trying to get the car to make the corner and.
Oh, caution out, Jari Brupacher actually. So we're just talking about him. Maybe too much clean air, I'm not sure, but unfortunately, Jari around that car very, very damaged. He's going to definitely have to take a fast repair here. He's going to get trapped a lap down as well. Honestly, a little surprised by that for Jari. So we'll take a look here. I mean, it's definitely, I'm going to say, I'm going to guess here, maybe a turn two issue, or you can already see that car's tracking up really high here. And I'm going to say that's probably a telltale of what we're about to see. And just gets up into the outside wall. And then from there, it just ricochets straight down. And that's going to be a big hit to that inside wall. And that car's I don't see there's any way getting away without a fast repair on that one.
I think you were trying to manifest the Jari and Jim Herrick back in the field situation here. That gives Jim Herrick a lot of track position right now to make sure he doesn't get trapped a lap down. But we got an early caution here. I don't really see anyone hitting except perhaps at the back of the field. We're only done a few laps here, and it's not really a huge fuel save like you mentioned. So some of these guys at the back might want to grab some new tires just to see if that would help move them forward a little bit as time goes on here. But other than that, this is a very early caution.
And are these guys waiting on the pace car?
Yeah,
here?
looks like they're waiting for the pace car.
I was just saying, did Nick stall or what's going? There's the pace car. Okay.
Yeah, the caution kind of came out right on the awkward part of turn 3, I believe, as
Okay.
these guys were coming around.
We did have a couple guys jump in, like you said, not a bunch of guys. We got Jeff Hysong is in, Seth Groover is in as well, along with Bill Colley. Again, say this is one of those things too. If any of them caught the wall just a little bit, maybe can get some manual damage repairs done to those cars as well, just to help them out a little bit. Like I'm looking at Seth right now, that car's been in for about 15 seconds now. So to me, that's probably, could that be a rear wing change if it's adding about 10 seconds to a pit stop?
I think it might just be a quick optional repair. If you sit in there for maybe like 20 to 30 seconds or so, you said 15. So it might just be kind of a quick little situation. And he might just be trying to see if they repair the car naturally. So he saves the fast repair until later on in the race.
Yeah, I'll just keep an eye in. So yeah, so again, we still have the 20 drivers on track. Again, Yari getting trapped a lap down. Unfortunately, again, he's going to be hitting pit road to get that, get the damage repairs, to get the fast repair done. We do have 3 cars not on track. You see them listed there: Matt Wagner, Joseph DeCiro, Brad Adams. What I would expect to see is for Matt is, as soon as he's able to get connected, he'll be hopping in to try to at least get some laps in, maybe gain some spots over some drivers that have issues over the course of the race. So what we should see here, those lights, I believe, will go off the pace car. No, not yet, actually. A little surprised by that. So we'll go at least one more round, which going to take advantage of that is going to be William Swenson this time. He's going to go ahead and take a little extra fuel in that 69 car. Yari is on pit road. You can see car is nice and shiny now. No suspension damage. So yeah, so fast repair there for him. And then yeah, he's going to have to sort back out here into the pack. So there is also a tire limit set here. I believe it's 3 sets in the pits, and so I think they'll basically have 1 set to play with as well. Andrew, I don't know if that's going to play a role. Track temp is warm. It's 119 degrees, so you definitely don't want to burn an early set off sooner than you'd like to. So I think that's also why we see these guys that are just kind of a quick splash of fuel, like Jeff Hysong, Bill Colley. No need to go too crazy yet.
Yeah, it may not be the right time for the new set of tires quite yet, especially if there's a tire limit here. So I think that some of these guys towards the back of the field probably just wanted to come in and make sure their fuel was good, and that will induce them even more to save fuel during their stint here, to try and go a little bit longer, save their tires, and see what happens. Talking about a few of these guys here that have jumped up a bunch of spots, we have Jim Brooks is +6 right now, up to P11 from P17 on the grid. And check out Rick Sanchez, up 9 spots there from P22 on the grid up to P13 already. So
yeah, and he's one of our super speedway guys. I say he's more of the close quartered cup, or not cup, truck and Xfinity car super speedway racer. So yeah, good opening start for him with the jumping over to the IndyCar side. And also mentioned on the point side, unfortunately for Yari, I mean, again, he was sitting 5th in points after this, and so right now, again, sitting in 20th at the moment, 1 down. So that's now an opportunity for, let's say, Casey Pahutsky, who's in 6th. He could maybe jump into that top 5 in points. Again, I mean, no matter where you are in points, you're always like, okay, where's my next spot that I can jump to, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, we'll have to see again on that one. Again, right now, Teed is a couple spots ahead of Craig. Teed in 5th, Craig in 8th. Gary Laverne only 2 spots behind them in 10th. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. But again, I think these top 2, definitely top 3, though. I'm trying to find, like, yeah, Andrew's had 2 starts so far this season. Edson has had, I think, just a couple as well. I don't think this is, yeah, he's had 2 starts. And then Nick DeGroot, this will be his 4th, or his 3rd start. This is his 4th start. So, yeah, right now our top 3 are definitely some of the, just the part-timers, and again, they're just like, all right, let's make some noise here.
I still think that we're going to go full steam ahead here. We're not going to do any fuel saving at all.
Not anymore, so nope.
I think Nick DeGroot is just going to lead this pack, and he's going to be very difficult to pass, especially on a track such as this where it's very difficult to get a run. But we're about to go green here.
Yeah, this is now again where you got to be real careful about the accordion, the restarts, make sure everybody's in the right fuel maps. You can see everybody staggered off just to make sure they've got enough room with each other, and it looks like a nice clean start for all those drivers. Back to green here, starting lap number 10.
I think Nick DeGroot had a great start there. He might have checked up someone in the bottom part of the top 10 here a little bit, but everyone seemed to get off very nicely. Single file, Eric Peterson's making a move on Chris Stouffer into turn 3.
Yeah, Peterson there. You see Stover fighting very hard on the top side, and there's the momentum. Though that momentum lets you swing right back by there, so he's able to hold that spot right behind him. Really good fight here with Gary Laverne, Casey Pahutsky. We just talked about the two of them right there with Craig Forsyth. So again, this is all again. You're going to try to find the clean air, try to position your car in some good spots. Charles Teed as well. He's got. I say now he was able, or I should say, Stouffer is able to clear Peterson. And now he's going right after Charles Teed here, try to get that fifth spot.
Watching Jim Herrick to see what his movement through the pack is after qualifying 5th place. I think he has picked up a couple of spots, and it looks like he might be a little bit stuck back here in the bottom part of the top 10, or actually he's in P13 right now.
And I feel like, oh man, a close call there with him though too, but I feel like Jim's one of those guys that he kind of, to me, I always see him as one that tries to let the race come to him. He doesn't really try to push too hard, to really tries to keep that car in a good position, just mechanically. And then when it's time to go, start to make the bigger moves. Oh, I saw the O2 there, just kissed the wall there again on the outside there of turn 2. Right now he is working on Raphael Reynolds, but right now he hasn't been able to do anything with him. And right now also right tucked up on that dirty air. I'd say, well, actually, let's hop on board with that number 40 chasing that number 13 or 013, I guess in this case. You also see the 34 just rolling out of pit road there. That's Taylor Reeves. But right now that outside line's looking pretty solid to me here. It seems like that's where I've seen some moves, if they can sneak to the outside coming out of turn 2.
I'm watching Chris Stouffer right now. He's carving his way through the field, doing exactly what you just said. He's passed Eric Peterson, he's passed Charles Teed, he's passed AJ Hobson, and now he's going for McMurray up on the top of turn 2. Stouffer is on the move right now. As I mentioned before, he wants to get to the front as best as he possibly can, but it looks like he's found something on the outside here that some of these guys may be a little bit jealous of. Stouffer's already passed 3 cars on the restart. That's more than any car in the field right now. So I think he is trying to get to the front as possible, as fast as possible.
Yeah, I saw a little bobble there too, and also you can see on the gearing they go all the way down to 4th gear there through 3 or through into. I'm sorry. Then they'll build back up into 5th, and I kind of expected 6th there, but no. That said, though, you can see he has cleared there Andrew McMurray, so now he moves up into 3rd. 5 spots gained for him. So great opening stint for Chris, and yeah, like you said, this will now be the next thing that sees. Okay, now he's got not a lot of clean air, but a little bit of clean air. And we'll see, and you can see right away he went more towards the middle lane there. So, but yeah, it looks like that is a good way to make passes, and I think AJ is going to try to take what he learned from watching Chris Stouffer, see if he can find a way around Andrew McMurray here through 3 and 4.
I think that clean air is king on this kind of track, and Stouffer, no matter how tough it gets, he always seems to find a way to pick the right amount of clean air to get the move done. He doesn't go too high in these corners, but gets enough of a run to get the momentum down the straightaway. And if you want to talk high line, you also want to look at Casey Pahutsky, who showed us what that was all about at Milwaukee. And he's sitting in P9 right now. He lost 1 or 2 spots on the restart, but I'm actually watching him drive right now, and you can see that he's trying to play with different lines. Even though the dirty air is not really there right now, he's trying to see what might work later on in the race. And that could be beneficial, especially if we get another caution and the field accordions this way together later on in this race. You can see he has quite a train behind him right now, but I think he's just trying to play with the different lines right now at this part of the race, not really pick up the positions to see what works later on.
Yeah, and again, I always take note of it just because I'm sure a little bit of bias on my side with the 51 and Jim Brooks, but pretty much if it's a faster track, Jim likes to run the outside line. If it's a Michigan and Auto Club, he's pretty much rim riding, and he's like, here he's got to jump bottom. He's going to try to do the crossover here through 3 and 4. See if he can grab that spot. But again, though, I'm curious to see what the momentum shift looks like. But looks like Jim will clear out of 4, but Casey's got a good run back off. But no, he's got Gary Laverne there right behind him. So now I want to see here through 1 and 2 now that Jim has that clean air. And yeah, sure enough, he stays on the top side. So it's just something I've noticed from the 51 car. He really likes to run that top side. But we got to jump back up here, though, because you got Craig and Eric Peterson now. They've got a good battle going on right behind Charles Teed. So like you said, we talk about Craig risk versus reward. I think, like you said, he's just kind of building up to it little by little, just not taking any big risks here.
And one thing that we also mentioned before is that it does not seem like these cars are fuel saving at all. The lap times right now indicate that people are full steam ahead, low 25s, indicate a map 1 situation, and I think that's going to continue on for the rest of the stint. So the fuel save situation for even someone like Craig Forsyth might be stymied a little bit, and these guys really are just trying to go as fast as they can and get as close as they can to the car up ahead. And the fuel save might get a little bit easier as you get closer to the car ahead because everyone's kind of on those worn tires a little bit. But right now it's kind of a free-for-all, which is something we're not used to really seeing in this series very much.
Yeah, I think the one place I would expect to still see some fuel saving on is, again, just the difficulty of in green flag pit stops getting in and out of pit road. So I think in that sense, if you're one of those guys that pitted a little bit later, right now Seth is the one that pitted at lap 6. So he's maybe got, I wouldn't say he has the most fuel of anybody. Man, that's some tight racing between he and Casey there. But he might have a little bit more. Again, he's probably burning a ton right now, though, fighting like he is. But yeah, if he can go an extra lap or two, and again, if someone makes a mistake on pit road, we've seen how that just completely changes the complexion of races for some cars. So, yeah, I mean, I think that definitely could be something to keep an eye on. But we have had some changes while we were watching that battle. You can see Craig Forsyth, he's gotten around Charles Teed. Charles Teed's going to try to go back after him. But right there, though, Charles got the dirty air off of that car in front of him of Andrew McMurray, which has allowed Craig to hold on to that spot here. And then Jim Herrick's decided to join this battle up front.
We see that Jim Brooks has now moved his way into the top 10, which makes him the biggest mover of the race, up from 17th place starting position up to P9. So good on Jim there. Obviously, we saw that battle with him and Casey before, but I think Jim's found something here. And like you mentioned before, he's definitely someone who likes to ride a little bit on the high side. That's going to definitely ruin the rear tires a bit more, but then the rear tire wear goes to the front tire wear as you're trying to make the corner on the exit, which is always a difficult thing to try and figure out on a flat corner like turn 1 and 2. But I think some of these guys are really starting to spread out now. You can, as I mentioned, leaps and bounds now has about a 1.5 second lead.
Yes, and I've been jumping around because we haven't gone to the front too much because the battles have been kind of in the mid pack. Say right now, Jeff Heisong, Raphael Reynolds, they are having a good little scrap there themselves. Again, Jeff pitted at lap number 8, so same thing. He's got a little bit more fuel. Obviously, he's lost some track position in all of this now because he's about, a little over 10 seconds back, I think, off the leaders. But again, though, during pit stop cycles, he'll definitely cycle to the front, and then if he can go further than everybody else. And so same situation for a little further back there with Bill Cawley. Pitting at lap 8, and then William Swenson, Yari Brupacher both pitting at lap 7. And Yari's actually, he's lap down again, but he's actually fighting a little further up than what we see him at. As I say, he's right there with the 5 car of Rick Sanchez, so he's just a few spots up ahead of them. But yeah, like you said, though, here. Oh, what you got?
I saw both McMurray and Jim Brooks touch the wall in turn 2 last lap, and right in the middle there is Charles Teed, and I'm hoping that neither McMurray or Jim Brooks have damage there, but both of them definitely touched the wall, just as Charles was trying to go underneath of Andrew McMurray, and he just got by him there in turn 3 and 4. But I don't think Jim Brooks got too much damage because now he is all over McMurray, so McMurray might have been the car to get the most damage out of that situation if there were to be any.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on. Say right now the car's looking pretty good, but yeah, you can see right there the momentum shift. Oh man, yeah, if you can get that thing set up top, it looks like that is working very well. And like you said, that's now 10 spots up for the 51 car. So again, that's all on track. There hasn't been any pit strategies or anything like that. So just a really good job here early on by the 51. You mentioned Christopher as well, up into the 3rd spot, starting in the top 10, all the way for him 5 spots to 3rd. So they've definitely been the bigger movers. Craig's up 4 spots, and again, Craig has been very methodical, I'm sure, picking up these spots as he can, and again, taking no extra risks or anything like that. So up front, though, like you said, right now Nick DeGroot still our race leader. Lap time wise, they're pretty much on top of each other. 25-24 for Nick, 25-30 for Edson, and then a 24-91. Or sorry, 24-27, I was looking at the wrong number there, for Christopher. So, I mean, they're all within half a tenth of a second of each other. So, actually half a hundredth of a second if I'm doing my numbers right there. But, yeah, basically very similar lap times for all these guys.
I think that you could definitely tell that it's not a fuel save situation because the top 5 is separated by almost 7 seconds. So we have Nick about 2 seconds ahead of Edson, and then another second back to Chris, and then AJ is about 2 seconds back. So this is a full steam ahead kind of race. Everyone's foot flat to the floor. They're not doing any fuel saving at all, and that's exactly what I predicted from someone like Nick, who's just kind of popping in for this one race here and hoping to make a splash. And he wants to win this race, but it may just be the full pace situation that gets you to win here, especially if you have guys that want to save the fuel and try and cut out a pit stop. But you just never know what the yellow flag situation brings in these races. So I don't blame Nick at all for just doing something a little bit different from what we normally see in this series here, and just going flat out and making sure no one even challenges him up at the front.
Yeah, saying also with that, let's say we're on lap 36 now, so we're getting close to that first scheduled pit stop. This is a really tight group of cars right here, from Andrew McMurray to Gary Laverne, Eric Peterson, Seth Groover. The one thing I was noticing when we hopped on the onboard Jim Brooks was he's staying in 6th gear all the way around the turn. We saw some guys all the way down to 4th gear at times. So interesting to see that he's doing that, to even though running the top there. Again, I feel like he could probably go to 4th or 5th, but opting to go ahead and stay in that top 6th gear. So that could also help his fuel mileage out a little bit as well. Just kind of not having the revs up as high as when these guys drop down lower. And for comparison's sake, I'm going to try to find, let's actually see who's one of, let's watch Craig real quick. I'm going to hop on his roof camera here, because right now you can already see Craig's already still sitting in 5th gear as he goes into the turn. We'll see if he drops. Yeah, he drops to 4th gear. So, and then we'll jump back to Jim, just sitting right in 6th gear, not revving out. I mean, you can see on the green lights on the tack too, like a lot of the other guys, like their tacks they're flashing. It's like, all right, we're about ready to shift.
Oh, McMurray's back in the wall again, and he brought Seth Groover with him in turn 2 there. I'm watching the Seth tried to make a move on the outside of Eric Peterson there, but McMurray started to drift a little bit wide, and he touched the wall again. So I think McMurray's definitely damaged now. As you see, he's starting to fall through the pack. We got Jim Herrick coming by him. Seth Groover also managed to get by him, but both of them did touch the wall in turn 2. This turn 2 wall is such a problem on this track, and
oh, big hits for both of them. Yeah,
I'm very animated about this situation, because I've been in that before, where I'm really trying to push the car as best I can, and then next thing you know, you find yourself in the wall, and then your car is damaged.
Yeah, no, both those cars took a pretty heavy shot, and I say, and that's what we talked about, is that turn 2 wall is definitely seems to be the trouble spot. And yeah, like I said, he's dropping further. Jeff Heisong's gotten around him now, and I gotta say, I'm a little surprised how well Seth Groover's been able to continue on even after that hit, because that was a solid shot. So yeah, pretty impressed by that. And again, looking at lap times, Nick DeGroot's...
Casey Bohutsky is coming into the pits right now. I wonder if this is an early pit stop.
This is a little early. This is lap 41, so maybe he's getting a little better mileage. Or again, he was one that was dropping a little bit back, so I think maybe said, you know what, I don't want to go any further. It's not a good spot for me. And so just like, you know what, I'm going to take my medicine now. And yeah, it's earlier than I want to, but it's, I think, the best call for me. So Seth Groover, actually, he's on pit road as well. Remember, he was one of those ones we talked about. He did pit around lap number 6. So same thing, might be a damage situation. Car just maybe not driving very well, and said, okay, let's just go ahead and do it now. Maybe get a timely caution at some point in the cycle, or maybe just trying to undercut the guy. Said, hey, this pace is dropping a bunch. Let me see if I can get a couple free spots here during the pit cycle. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on them right now. I keep going here because this is the closest battle on track, is between the 50 and the 51 here. And I think now the 51 might have the momentum he needs. We'll see how they do through 3 and 4. And it looks like Charles just going to hang on to it right now. But I have a feeling, though, knowing Teed as well as I do, he's probably a big smile on his face right now, just having this really good battle with the 51. And then also now you got the 5 getting around the 18, it looks like, to move him up into 11th.
Oh, Bill Kelly just had to dodge a flying A.J. Hobson coming by there, coming through turn 2. But, yeah, I'm wondering about this fuel situation, Gael. It looks like we were talking about the 45 lap mark, but keep in mind that these guys have not done any fuel saving whatsoever, really, except maybe a little bit here and there. And I'm wondering if perhaps, especially with that yellow, if we see the cars come in like around lap 46, 47 or so, it's going to be very difficult to make that 45 lap situation work going on for the rest of the race, especially if the pace of this race is flying as it is. But we'll see what happens. We have definitely seen before that people definitely pull these random laps out of nowhere that kind of shock both of us, and this could happen in this race as well. But that early pit stop by both Husky and Gruber kind of proved to me that they're trying to do something a little different, and the rest of the field might be worried about fuel.
Yeah, and I'm looking at lap time wise right now. Putski's the quickest car on track, and this is Wall trying to work his way through traffic.
Edson's coming in.
Yep. So here's one of our first of our front runners. He's going to hit pit road here.
Craig's
in too. So a little surprised by that. Craig's usually one of those guys that we're like, no, he's going to go the furthest of everybody. So, but again, this is after the 45 mark. But like you said though, that includes a caution. So maybe that 45 is a little bit of a tight window to actually make happen. So. What we are noticing though is Nick DeGroot though, he's still going, and again he's been leading from the get-go, so great job by him on the fuel side of things as well. Looks like Jim Brooks is, yep, here he comes. He's on pit road for his stop. Teed's able to go a little farther, and again we mentioned him just sitting in 6th gear. I was thinking maybe it would go a little bit better on fuel, but again I think, and also like you said too, right on that top side gonna burn probably a little bit more as well. So
leaders coming in.
Yep, here comes Nick.
Yeah, I definitely think the 45 lap mark is a little bit of a stretch, but we're at 48 right now. All you got to do is a 42 and a 41 to make it to the end. So perhaps we see the pace of the race slow down a little bit going forward, especially from someone like Nick who has pulled out such the lead that he has, that it's possible that he might start to tamp it down a little bit. But if you're running out there by yourself, it's going to be a very hard ask to try and see if you can save a lap or two during the race. But I wonder if something is up Nick's sleeve, because we've seen this before.
Yeah, and right now we definitely have a pretty big range now on the fuel strategy. Looking at pit stop times, so far so good. Looks like everybody's had clean entries. Haven't seen any extended pit stops, which is always a good thing to have. So you got a good battle right here with right behind them, Casey Husky, Seth Gruber, these two fighting tooth and nail. But they got to be careful, as I think AJ's coming in. Oh, that's, you don't want to see that in your mirror.
Yeah, if you want to come in on turn 4, it's such a risk, especially once half the field pits and you got a lot of the people that are running the older tires. Oh, Seth Gruber touches the wall again in turn 2. Just after it comes in and gets his car repaired, he just touches the wall again there as Casey goes by him. But we'll have to see if this pays off for both Casey and Seth. I mean, Seth now has touched the wall that it may not have as much for him, but Casey might have picked up a few spots here as he goes back on the apron.
Yeah, I'll have to keep an eye on see everybody cycles through. We're just about completed the cycle. Gary Laverne is in, so that leaves 2 drivers left. That's Jeff Heisung and William Swenson. Those are the last 2 drivers. Oh, Yari Brupacher as well. And I'm sure Yari's just trying to run this thing out as far as he can. Maybe again, he's kind of hoping for that yellow during the pit cycle. That way he can maybe just steal a lap back, if you will. But right now, like I said, there's still a couple guys left to go. The first is this guy here, but Jeff's making good field numbers right now. I mean, he did pit at lap number 8, but we're on 53 now, so that's pretty much, that is the 45 lap mark based on that. Gary Laverne, he's completed his pit stop. So yeah, so right now we're just waiting for the last top 2. But again, he's seeing your timing scoring over on that left-hand column right now. Only 7 cars on the lead lap with the way things are settled in at the moment with the caution, or without the caution, and with the pit stop cycles. And continuing to go on still is Jeff Heisung. So great mileage for him here.
Yeah, Heisung definitely, the clean air is king no matter what the state of your tires is. So if you take the lead and you have no hindrances up ahead of you where you have to try and find a line and everything, it looks like he's kind of going low
ready.
now.
Yeah, he's ready to come in.
But again, we're at 54 right now, which leaves, 80 laps or so of this race.
Yep.
And I think that's very easy to do here. So he will definitely just be doing one more stop to finish this race. And he may have lost a couple spots during this rotation, but when he comes out of the pits, he's going to have the freshest tires of anybody. And that will definitely help him try and especially make some moves on the high side if he wants to, or come out in clear air and see what happens. But we have a huge gaggle of cars going to turn 1 right now that are all battling for position. And I think that this is definitely one of those cases that, as I was mentioning, it's just trying to find the clean air as much as you possibly can. And much of those cars were kind of spread out across all lines through turn 1 and 2 there. This is all for the it looks like P11 through P15 or so.
Yeah, Nick DeGroot's stuck in the middle of all this, and so he's having to be extremely cautious with this, which is going to allow Edson to probably still kind of creep up a little bit. Oh, we got one way up top there. Was that Jeff Heisung?
That
was Yari, I think. That was Yari, I think,
yeah,
actually.
Yeah, Jim was high as well, but Yari was definitely high.
And so, yeah, so that 69 car still has yet to pit as well here, Andrew. Again, he pitted lap 7. So, again, he's done really, really good on fuel. Right now, though, Nick's got about a second. Yari's on pit road now, I need to add. Actually, we're going to jump over to Craig because he is working on AJ Hobson. And this is interesting, though, as well as I'm not sure if this is AJ passing Craig or Craig passing AJ, because AJ does have 4-lap fresher tires than Craig. So kind of interesting. See, again, a surprise to us to see Craig kind of almost short pit, if you will. As you see one hitting pit road, that's the 69 that's on pit road now. I think I just saw, yeah, Taylor Reeves, big lockup, but he's able to get it down to speed. So that will now complete the cycle of pit stops. And, oh, man, I think I just saw Andrew McMurray again kiss the wall there, too. These two have just been locked in a battle from pretty much the get-go here, that 16 and the 02.
Looks like we have most of the cars back on the lead lap again now once all the pit stop cycles ran out. But Edson's closed the gap a little bit on Nick. Nick had all that traffic, like you mentioned, so it was very difficult for him to try and make any sort of gap. But we have the top 5 right now within 4.2 seconds, and we have Teed in P6, 7 seconds behind the pack. So that just shows exactly what the pit stop rotation can do to you when you are really trying to go for it on pit entry. You can see who really pushed the pit entry and who really tried to make sure they had a safe pit entry, but it really hurt them once all the pit stop situations sorted out. And I think right now it's a race in the top 5 as we sit here just under halfway.
Yeah, a really good fight here with AJ and Craig. They continue to go back and forth on each other, neither given an inch. Yeah, you're talking about the pit stop times. I'm looking at the total pit lane time. Nick DeGroot was a 37.82. Edson Santos 36.43. So he was 1.4 seconds quicker in pit lane. Christopher 36.75. So about 3/10 slower than Edson, but still faster than Nick as well. But AJ Hobson 36.32. I think he was the quickest in and out of pit road there on the pit lane time. So that also, again, him going to lap 50 and being able to then have a really quick in and out lap, I think that's also helped jump him up into that 4th spot. Like you see, he's been able to get around Craig to jump into that spot. Craig now back into 5th. But so, yeah, so we talked about AJ earlier, mentioned he'd want to hop in, maybe see if he can just kind of spoil the party a little bit on one of his starts, and done a great job. And now he's got some clean air until he gets Christopher be his next person to go after for a position.
I see Taylor Reeves is back in the pits, and I'm wondering if that's a speeding penalty from that pit stop he just did, because he's in the pits a long time.
This is a long hold. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so right now, and Christopher's starting to just creep in a little bit onto the back of Edson. Edson's having to try to fight, I think, with the 18 of Jeff Hysong, or maybe not fight, but kind of in that dirty air, that wake a little bit, if you will. And so I think that's probably holding him up just a little bit. But again, though, for Jeff Hysong, he did pit at lap 54, so I think he was one of those guys that just about went the furthest. And like you'd mentioned, Andrew, it's going to be that potential of the short-term loss and aiming for that long-term gain. As last time by, he ran identical laps to Nick DeGroot, and to say Nick is working over Casey Pahutsky right now. And again, Casey's got to try to hold this lead lap, because, I mean, that's, again, he wants to make sure he still has a chance in this race, depending on if and when something were to happen. So I say these guys aren't going to just completely roll out of the way for Nick, especially if they're trying to stay on the lead lap, if you will, here.
I also want to mention that Yari is called in tonight as well. Looks like he's might have had an issue. He's now out of the server, so unfortunately for Yari, not the greatest night for him.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I'd say, again, that's the points hit. So Yari again was 5th coming into tonight. That said, though, I mean, Casey's not having the best of nights. He's in 12th at the moment, so he'd like to kind of capitalize a little bit more on that. He was 32 points, it looks like, behind Yari, so may not be enough to jump him over there. He'll close the gap a little bit as things run, but yeah, so we'll just see on that. But right now, though, I think it's really Christopher. He's the one that's starting to really make a charge here onto the back of Edson. Everybody else has started to kind of settle in a little bit, about that 1 second or so margin. Charles Teed's done a really good job getting through traffic. He's been able to get around the 013 of Raphael Reynolds. Jim Brooks is still trapped behind him, so he has not been able to keep up with Teed there, and that's let Teed have some decent breathing space over the 51.
I just saw Andrew McMurray hit the wall in turn 2 yet again. So the turn 2 woes continue for poor McMurray there. He continues on, but yeah, I'm watching the especially I'm watching to see what Jim Brooks does here, especially as Charles T starts to pull away a little bit. Looks like he's having a hard time getting around Raphael, but I think Raphael's kind of driving the middle part of the track, so I think Jim just needs to find a little bit of clean air on the bottom, wash it up to the top, and try and get the run down the back straight. As you see, Raphael is now right up behind Jim Herrick, so that might give Jim a little bit of a run on the outside. I think he has it.
Yeah, so right now we're pointing over at the turn 2 camera. You can see, yeah, there goes the three of them all right together there. And it's like, but it's like, this is a great view because show how much you can possibly wash out. A few guys are definitely giving plenty of space, but you can see, yeah, some of these guys are getting really tight there. Casey Husky was one we just saw. It almost looked like there as well. Christopher getting a little bit close to it as well. But I think what Christopher is seeing, oh yeah, Herrick's on pit road. What Christopher is seeing though is AJ Hobson. He is on a tear right now. Again, he went further than these guys, only a lap further though than AJ or than Chris. But AJ is looking very strong in this number 4 car.
Nick has grown his lead back to 2 seconds again, so he's managed to get his way out of the traffic, and now poor Edson is having to deal with these cars as well.
Yeah, and so the problem for Edson is you look out the back of his car, he sees Christopher, he sees AJ Hobson, but in front of him, like I said, he's got those 2 lap cars. So yeah, he's in a tough spot right now, and again, you can see everybody's going to start to jump around a little bit position-wise to try to find a good spot to be in. Like you mentioned, it does look like the 51 has gotten around the 013, so now he's able to try to see if he can set his sights back on Charles Teed. So once they both run a clean lap, I'll keep an eye on their lap times relative to one another. But right now, yeah, it's actually last time I was correct, Forsyth quickest car on track, like 25-25. As he's starting to creep, you can just see him in the back there of that picture entering turn 1 and 2. So he's trying to work on this fight here as well.
This is quite a mess here going into turn 3. All these cars, some the lap down, some staying in the top 5, trying to make their way by. I think Jim Herrick, I'm not sure if he drove through the pits or if he had some other issue, but he is kind of the cork in the bottle here that's holding quite a bit of these cars up here. And you see Stouffer just continues to take the super high lane, trying to get any run down the back straight. Oh, he comes very close to the wall there. I think that might have been too much of a bite out of the apple, and now AJ's got the run going into 3.
Yeah, so now, see Edson.
Big
check up there.
Okay.
Oh, Edson's missing his right front end plate.
Yeah, maybe he touched the turn 2 wall at some point.
Let's go. I'm going to go back and we'll take a little bit. Yeah, you can see that car not turning anymore because it's stuck up in the wall. Oh, man, he's able to get it cut down to the bottom.
He's in the wall now.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's going to bring out a caution because he just cut it down to the bottom. So caution is out. So we'll try to go back and find what happened to Edson. But yeah, he took a tow, and so that's going to bring the first yellow out with 60 to go. Outside the fuel window, even if they pit here to make it to the end, Nick DeGroot's going to catch the pace car right now. And I believe the beneficiary of this is going to be Jeff Hysong. We'll put him back on the lead lap. Andrew McMurray was just still ahead of the leader at the time, so he's going to come back around and get back onto the lead, or stay on the lead lap, I should say. But let's go back. I'm gonna try to hunt around here. We'll focus on Edson. Front wing still there here. Let's see if we can catch where it happens. I say we're just gonna have to kind of run through and take a.
I like that random car that touched turn 2 wall there that we'll just kind of ignore and almost send it into the outside wall.
Nothing there. He got close there on the exit of 2.
I think there was contact.
Probably one of these guys right here. He's about to catch, I'm guessing.
I know he hit the back of Jeff Hysong. I think there was a little bit of net code actually in that situation.
So I can't tell you the field's on pit road. Like I said, we're just going to run through this replay. So we want to try to see where this all occurred.
Watching pit road myself.
I don't think it'll be much strategy. It should just be 4 tires and fuel. Like I said, we're trying to just kind of catch to find where. Like I said, this is obviously a big turning point in the race. And right there, yeah, you're right. It looked like a little bit of net code there. Didn't really touch them. But again, just the way that connection stuff goes. So pit stops have completed. Nick DeGroot's going to hold on.
I don't see any drama. Yep, everyone just kind of had a nice pit stop. It was very, run-of-the-mill situation. Nick keeps the lead. Eric Peterson seems to have a wobbly left front tire right now for some reason. Other than that, I think we had a clean entry. I'm not sure why Eric's struggling with that
Oh,
tire
that's
there.
that's a very wobbly tire there. I wonder if something happened to Eric as well, because I don't remember that being an issue earlier. We'll jump one more time back a little bit. We'll find where the caution came out. And I wonder, because he was battling. Nope, it's already damaged there.
Looks like a self spin. That had nothing to
Yeah,
do with caution.
yeah. So this was at some point previously.
Yeah, it's lap 74.
Peterson. Oh yeah, there. So we can see him on the inside. Also, let's go back. That's kind of tailed. Oh, actually, no. I expected to get the wall and then come down. He gets loose at a turn. That tire already looks a little suspect to me. It looked like it almost had a little bit of a shake in it before. It may have just been the angle, but that's definitely gonna to break a tire though. So we'll jump back live once more. Leaders are coming across, so we're gonna take a quick break, pull up our 40 Racer sponsor, and we'll be right back.
40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
Wave rounds.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Got a couple wave rounds here. We talked about Jim Herrick had pitted a little bit earlier, which felt like it was a little bit off sequence. So he's waving around. Bill Colley's waving around, and then the 34 Taylor Reeves as well. So these guys getting one of their laps back. I believe that's gonna put Jim Herrick from 3 to 2 down, Bill from 2 to 1 down, and Reeves will say, unfortunately, not his night. He's gonna still, I think, be sitting at 6 down, but. What we do have now is 10 cars on the lead lap from Nick DeGroot to Andrew McMurray. Andrew, of course, is going to restart the tail end here on this restart. Then we have a pretty solid... Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Big wreck at the back.
Yeah, that is... I don't want to go back and look at that, but we kind of got us, so let's go back and see what happened. I say this is, I think, some drivers trying to catch back up to the wave around. And I said, I think... Let's say Jim Herrick was one of those ones going for the Lucky Dogs on the one to go. But I think what we saw here is I think Bill was trying to make sure he caught up to the field. And then let's say, and then again, the field's going to be a lot slower. Oh, man, again, I'm running full speed here, or slow-mo, I'm sorry. And so I think what we're going to see is the 40 is going to slow down. And then here comes the 31, a big head of steam. And right here, you see the uh-oh. And, yeah, unfortunately, it locked it down. And, oh.
That's a big target. Unfortunately, we've all been there, right?
I've done it, yeah.
It's a little embarrassing, obviously, for the driver in the situation, especially when you see the field and you know you can't stop, but you kind of just brace for impact and you don't really do anything to try and move left or right because you know that could definitely save it. So unfortunate incident there, but we all can sit there.
I've been there, done that.
We've had that situation happen before. So very unfortunate, but yeah, they extended the caution by 1 lap here. So, but
yeah,
one thing I should mention here, Gael, is that it looks like we're completely right in the middle of the pit stop rotation right here. So back to the no fuel saving situation. We're going to be going full speed again, but we have Chris Stover moving all the way up from what is that, P7 or 8 on the starting
Yeah,
grid there, up
P8
to
to
P2,
P2.
and
Yeah.
he is not going to do anything. We have 3 of the best guys in this series that race on these 1.5-mile ovals up front. So I think we're going to really see a race here, especially if Nick is caught sleeping on the restart. We could really see a race going here.
I don't think Nick's gonna fall asleep here. Although he's rusty with Area 51, so we'll see. But yeah, you're right though. This is now Christopher AJ Hobson. They're thinking, all right, where we want to be now. We can try to make some moves. We got the best clean air we've had in a while. So yeah, you're right though. This is gonna be really good. So we're gonna watch here as they build up to speed. Again, they got to be careful. Nick is the control car, so they can't go until he does. Make sure no accordions. So far, looking pretty good. And looks like a smooth start for the field as they head back into one.
Oh, we got Raphael Reynolds, got a little crossed up there in the quad oval, and
three
he's going to
wide.
get passed by Seth Groover. I don't think there was any foul play there. I think it was just a matter of Raphael's in the wall. Yep.
Yeah, saw him catch you outside wall.
I spoke too soon there. It looked like Raphael may have just got a little bit crossed up, and I thought he was just going to let Seth go, but I think Raphael just got so much right in the middle
and something
there.
else happened because I was mixing the 013 and the 13. It's like, wait a second. I was like, what happened to Chris? Luckily, it was not Chris. So let's go back one more time here because yeah, we saw that all kind of kicking off, and so let's pause it here. Let's go back up. I mean, you can see actually look at Jim Brooks. That car is 45 degrees facing the inside wall. So yeah, I'm thinking there's a couple cars having issues. So what I'm actually going to do here, Andrew, is I'm going to take that turn 2 exit camera, and we're going to run this slow-mo and watch these guys come out of 2. First couple of cars all as well, but it's about here where it's all going to kick off. So you don't see the 51. There's 51. Look at this thing cut into the inside there. That car, big loose. There's 2 in the wall, 3 in the wall. Nothing Eric Peterson couldn't do there. He's just the wrong spot, wrong time. Then he gets flipped up and over. But yeah, so Jim Brooks, big moment for him too.
It's such a hard thing to do, especially if you feel like you're following the turn properly. So we as you saw on that camera there, you have Rick Sanchez that kind of misses the line going into turn 2, and he washes up just a little bit late. And you have Raphael that's already sandwiched right in the middle of the corner. And next thing you know, you're trying to avoid the cars, but you're also watching the car ahead of you. You see them hit the wall, so you have nothing to do but just keep your foot in it and try and see if you can make the corner better from the back. But there's so much weight coming from the car ahead that's a very unfortunate one that we've all been accustomed to before when we feel like we have the run. But keep in mind, these cars all just pitted. They all have the cold tires as well.
Yep.
So the cold tires plus the dirty air, plus watching the car ahead of you. Once one car kind of misses the corner, the rest of the cars behind, or especially ones that are 3 wide, are trying to get the best they can there.
So I think a big storyline that just popped up here is we talked about the fuel window. These guys are 45 we felt was safe. Then it seemed a little questionable. There's a certain fella who's usually pretty good on fuel. He just pitted from the top 5, along with the 5 of Rick Sanchez, the 18 of Jeff Hysong, and the 10 of Andrew McMurray. For those 3, I mean, they were towards the back already. I think that's a good call for them. Little surprised to see Craig do it. However, at the same time, he really only gave up, 3 spots, I think, to do so. So can Craig go? I mean, this would basically be once the restart goes, because we're not 1 to go yet. This is going to be maybe 50 laps if we go green. Is this a window Craig could maybe make?
I don't think so. We barely saw them do 42, 43 on green before. And again, we have Nick as the leader who's trying to push the fuel mileage, especially because he's committed to it now from the last caution. I think I didn't see any cars except for Swenson go 49, 50 or so that last time by. So I don't know. It's a stretch for sure. But again, as I say in all these broadcasts, you need a partner to do it. So if you're going to do the fuel save, you have to commit to it with someone, and you have to be able to stay behind them. And this is such a hard track to do that at, especially with the way that these cars follow each other in this dirty air. So you'd have to do it kind of swapping, and I don't think that's enough yet. But that being said, if they don't predict green for the rest of the way, if they say, hey, there'll be 2 or 3 more cautions, then we're talking a different strategy here, and that sort of lessens the amount of green flag laps that you have to do this fuel save on.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see. Obviously, Craig didn't lose a ton of spots. I want to say he was in front of Charles Teed, if I'm not mistaken. So goes from 4th to 7th. So really not that bad in the grand scheme of things. The beneficiary I do need to mention as well on that yellow was the O2 of Seth Groover. He is now back on the lead lap, which now leaves just Casey Pahutsky and William Swenson. Those two are going to be fighting for the wave around. I say, unfortunately, with some of the incidents we've had now recently, we've definitely bumped up the retirement count here. Like you mentioned, you see Yari's in the pits, Edson, Bill Colley, Eric Peterson, the 013 of Raphael Reynolds, Jim Herrick as well. So I think most of those guys have, actually, no, Jim Herrick's rolling out now. So, but I think basically from Eric Peterson, Bill Colley, Edson Santos, Jerry Brubacher have officially retired. It shows pit in our screen, but I think, I think they've unfortunately called it for the evening. So, yeah, this is, and so Jim is, what's Jim 2 down, I think, right now?
Jim is 2, and
yeah.
I think he just pitted to top up, and hopefully he's in a spot later on.
And I like the idea here, too. Again, it's like, well, hey, I need to do something different. So if those guys in front of me that are 1 down, maybe if they're a little tighter on field, they won't push as hard, or have to push hard, I should say, to fight with each other. Maybe I can jump those guys if we get to that pit stop window. So we'll see. What we're going to have is back to Nick DeGroot. We're going to watch off that rear camera, focus on that factory-backed logo on the side pod. And yeah, I'll say they didn't have a chance to really go after it this time. We'll see what they can do here. Christopher following along with AJ Hobson as wait again for Nick to drop the hammer. And he is down and away. 50 to go here at the line.
Looks like we have a nice clean start. Very, very uniform going through. Taylor Reeves making a move up on Andrew McMurray into turn 1, I think, as Andrew makes a move on Jeff Hysong going into turn 1. I think Andrew might get the run here, but he has a good relationship with that turn 2 wall. He manages to miss it that time around, but he'll have the draft.
I say, and he's got the draft there off the back of that 5 car. So he's or actually, no, that's not, that's Casey Pahutsky. I'm sorry. So I say he's going to try to steal that draft a little bit too. And just saw there. I think that was Taylor Reeves. Yeah, just a little kiss to the outside wall there at a 4 this time. So I'll say there is no safe turn at the moment. But right now, everybody's still pretty tightly packed on each other. It's just a half second. Jim Brooks, Charles Teed, they're right back after it. And so they okay, let's go around 2 here one more time. And again, to me, I don't see any fuel saving happening from 6th on up. I'm curious about Craig again. I mean, I make a point to kind of keep an eye on him and his fuel mileage pretty much week in, week out. But when he does something different than everybody else, I kind of look at him like, all right, what's the strategy? What's he up to? I think the telltale is going to be if he races Gary, okay, maybe not. But if he's just kind of going to sit and ride and just use his draft, I think that might give us some insight as well.
I agree with you 100%. I just think the pace that Nick DeGroot's running, there's just no fuel save allowed here. So at this point, I really think that the strategy here is just going to be simply a hope for 3 more caution situation and that he just propels his way to the front. Jim Brooks is looking very racy again, right behind Charles Teed. He had such a great run down the back straight there, but he didn't make the move on Teed, and I'm not really understanding why. I wonder if he's trying to set something up for perhaps later.
I think he just doesn't want to get off. I don't think he wants to get off the top. I think he's very happy running that top lane. And I think he just, and with Teed running obviously the racing line, entering turn 3, he doesn't want to cut low and run where he hasn't been comfortable. So I think, honestly, that's more of what we're seeing. And so he's fallen off just a tiny bit. And that's allowed Gary to get right up to him now in his number 32 car. And again, though, even now that he's got some gap off of Teed, he's still running that very, very top seam. And lap time-wise, again, throw the top 3 under a blanket. They're all running within, again, about half a hundredth of a second of each other.
I just don't see the top line in 3 and 4 working. If you have the overlap, overspeed coming out of 2, you really got to go for it on the low side here. Here comes Craig right down on the low side of Gary coming into 2, and I think he has something happen, but I think Gary's got the draft now. That's such a hard move to get done.
Yeah, so yeah, when you kind of have that draft train, if you will, you make a move, but then all you do is you're just stuck where you have the dirt, or you have no air, they have the draft, and obviously you want to have the clean air entering the turns. But yeah, once you get on the straightaways, you want to have that toe with that guy in front of you, and so that was exactly what we saw from Gary there out of two.
It's a little too high there, and Gary's got a little bit of run down the back straightaway. But
so let's see how this goes. Like I said, so now Gary's got the inside line.
It's hard to do the outside.
And look at that, he clears him. Yeah, so that's exactly what you said. So if he maybe was able to get low of teed, he could have made that happen. But unfortunately, caution's actually out, and it is it's the 0-2 Seth Groover. That is definitely some significant right front damage to his car. Let's go take a look here. Looks like William Swenson also went off track, but I think that was probably just for avoidance. But let's go back. Let's see if we can find what happened here.
Everyone's pitting here, by the way.
Oh, it's like the 013. Yeah, it just drifts up a little bit of netcode. I think they probably would have found each other regardless, truth be told. But yeah, unfortunate contact there. And yeah, just unfortunate there. And so you see Jim Herrick trying to wait to react. He goes down low. And actually, so it should actually be, I believe, Casey should be the beneficiary, if I'm not mistaken, to get back on the lead lap.
I believe it's Casey, yep.
So we'll jump back live here. We'll take a look. 0-2 is going to try to limp this thing back to pit road. Leaders are, so now it's going to be strategy time. Now, yeah, there's no question. Fuel's done. These guys can make it to the end if they pit here. So I expect to see the top, top 6 in. No.
We are marked wrong. And
Craig stays out 2, jumps him up to 3rd. Jeff Hysong's going to stay out. And then waiting to see, like I said, I should see Casey here. Should be able to swing by these guys to the right. Yes, so there goes Casey. So that's going to put him back on the lead lap. Seth Groover's been able to limp this thing right back to pit road. So this is interesting now. Again, these top two, Stouffer and DeGroot, pitted lap 76. Forsyth Hysong at 82. I do feel pretty confident that this probably puts these guys in the window to make it to the end. But we've also talked about there is still some tire fall off. So will these new tires now for Andrew McMurray? Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. Andrew will actually fuel only in the 16 car. So he just put a splash in and gained a ton of track position. He jumps all the way back up to 5th now. But yeah, so now it's going to be time to go on the attack for Hobson and Teed and Laverne and Brooks and these guys. So yeah, so this is gonna be interesting to see kind of clean air versus tires versus and then potential fuel strategy. Still, do these guys need to save anymore, or are they just banking on more yellows?
I'm scratching my head a little bit at the strategy here, Gael. I'm not going to question Nick or Chris, guys that are veterans of this car, as to what strategy they're calling here. Maybe one of them might make a mistake, but 2 of them making mistakes seems a little strange to me. So I don't know what they have planned here. You can make it to the end on this pit stop, so I would have figured that they would have come in to make sure that they don't lose any track position. But now they're going to have to pit under green.
And we got a couple more. Yeah, Casey makes sense.
I was going to say even worse, if it's a yellow flag and they have to pit, they're going to go all the way to the back. It's not like they have 4 or 5 cars on the lead lap. So I'm scratching my head at the strategy, and I'm not really sure what they have planned here.
Yeah, and the 51 actually came back into top off as well, which also surprises me. So yeah, I'm really intrigued by some of this. So we're going to try to figure it out. We're going to step away one more time to show off our Whiplash SimCam sponsor. So we'll be right back. All right, lights are off of the pace car, so we are 1 to go. Again, so pretty much here we had fifth on back, went ahead and pitted. Craig and Andrew Craig and Jeff, apologies, and third and fourth pitted on 82. Nick DeGroot, Christopher on 76. So did the numbers, Andrew. We talked about Craig, could he do 50 laps or so? It's 59 laps doing the 135 minus them pitting at 76 for Nick DeGroot, Christopher. This is intriguing because basically now if you're Andrew McMurray on back, you're like, man, let's race real nice and clean, guys, because I think we can force these guys to have to pit at the end.
Yeah, like I mentioned to you in the break there's something afoot here that I'm not privy to, and I've been out of this car for a couple months now, so maybe I'm missing something, but we'll have to see what happens. I'm excited to see what Nick's strategy is now. Is he on a super mega fuel save, or is he just going to go full blast and hope that everybody comes in on a later caution, perhaps? That's a very risky strategy.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a gamble, so we'll see how it all pans out. Again, we did have a couple guys even top off here. I see everybody's trying to get themselves ordered. You see a little further back, they're kind of staggering just to be careful about that accordion effect as we are back to green. And again, looks like a nice clean start for the field as they head back into turn number 1.
Very orderly. A little bit of a mix-up there with Taylor Reeves in the back of the field, but everyone's off clean. Jim Herrick goes high in turn 1. I think he's just kind of letting cars by. Saw some smoke off the turn 2 wall there. I think it might have been from Rick Sanchez, perhaps, but yep, we're clean and green, and Jim Brooks is already starting to make up some spots.
Yeah, so he's going, yep, right back to the top. Let's go do what we do best. So, but yeah, so now I'm going to be, I'd say right now, to me, focus needs to start with Andrew McMurray, AJ Hobson. To me, probably AJ Hobson will be really, for me, the first one to watch, just due to the fact that we saw his outright pace earlier. We've seen Andrew, obviously, he's been up front, but he's also had some struggles with, especially out of turn 2. And right off the bat, you can see AJ is wasting no time, wants to try to get this spot, move himself back into that top 5. And he's going to get that done there in 1 and 2. And so now he's going to set his sights on Jeff Heisong next. So, yeah, this is going to be intriguing. But I actually spoke too soon because Andrew McMurray is going to try to cross him over in 3. Oh, that's close there.
I think AJ missed turn 2 there. He kind of washed up a little high, and McMurray had the run there. But looking at these lap times, this is not a fuel save Nick is going for, and he just keeps us guessing here as commentators. What is he planning here? He pitted almost 30 laps ago, and he cannot make it to the end. So I'm really curious to see what these guys up here at the front are thinking. Forsyth has the best fuel situation, as you mentioned, but I still don't think even he can make it. He's going to try and save some fuel behind Stouffer, I would imagine, but I can't see Stouffer just giving up his race to save Craig's fuel for the championship. So I'm not sure.
Especially with Matt not able to make it tonight. So yeah, no, I agree with you. Jeff Heisong, he's kind of fallen off these guys, which has allowed AJ Hobson to make another charge here as well. So he's working on trying to grab another spot just a little further back here. Great fight with Charles Teed, Gary Laverne. Again, these guys are all ones that pitted at lap 95, so they're all on the same strategy here. Actually, I need to mention Andrew McMurray. He took fuel only. We have to also make a note of. So, but we're going to jump back up into this 4th spot because here comes Jeff. He's going to take the inside line. AJ is going to take the inside line from Jeff. He's going to grab that spot. I'm liking where AJ is right now here. Again, still plenty of time to go, and he has no fuel saving. He can go. These guys, the lap times, I wouldn't say they've dropped, but they're about maybe a 10th or so slower than the previous lap. So I'm wondering if maybe they have turned the wick down just a teeny bit, maybe. But we got to go to this battle now. Look at these 3.
I was going to say it's still not enough for them to make it. So they're on some wonky strategy that we're not really privy to yet. I imagine that both Nick and Chris will have to pit within 15 laps here. And that's not going to be enough to make it to the end.
Jim's able to get to the outside of Gary. He's going to have the draft from Charles Teed, but Gary's going to have the inside line through 3 and 4, but it won't be enough. Momentum's going to go Jim. I think Gary got the dirty air off of Charles Teed. See if Jim's going to try to make a move. I'll say these two have been pretty much stuck to each other all night long. And like you said, though, for Jim, though, at some point, if he can get that good run off of Teed out of 2, he's gonna have to cross over and get to that bottom lane. So but we're gonna jump back up front because Craig Forsyth, there's Craig Forsyth. He's starting to put some pressure as well onto Chris Stouffer. Maybe the same thing, trying to push this pace a little bit because I'm looking at lap times. 2 laps ago, DeGroot was in the teens, Stouffer was in the 40s. Now he picked up into the upper 20s as Craig just flirts with the wall there at a 2. You can see he's also still trying, and we missed it. Jim Brooks finally got around Charles Teed, though, so we'll go back because they've been fighting tooth and nail for many laps. We got to show the pass for that position, and once again, just rim riding that thing. He's going to jump up into that 7th spot after that.
Great recovery from Jim Brooks there, who pitted on that last pit stop, and he managed to pick up a couple spots there on that restart and puts him right back to kind of where he was hanging out for most of the race, around P6, P7.
And I think pace-wise, he should probably have a little bit of margin on Andrew McMurray. Because, again, Andrew's field only. Jeff Heisong pitted last at lap 82. I mean, I really do think there could be a top 5 in the cards for the 51 as well. But, and again, and who knows now with the fuel situation as well for all these guys. Nick DeGroot really backed down his pace last lap, 25:41. So about not quite half a second slower than his quickest lap, but definitely not those low 25s that we'd seen earlier. So, yeah, this is very intriguing. I mean, we're already down to 25 to go in this one. So, again, laps under green, they're 25-second laps, so they're going to click off really quickly here. So it's going to be fun to see. AJ Hobson has kind of settled in a little bit. Craig's looking, big hit. Andrew McMurray, he's going to keep it off the inside wall, but that car is going to definitely not be handling well. And I say, yeah, and I think he's going to just have to hold the bottom here. I shouldn't be too big of a fight here for Jim. Again, he's going to want to stay on the top side, or he's going to back it. Well, let's see. I thought for sure he wanted to just stay on the top side, but that's where Andrew's running. That car's so tight, Andrew has no choice but to run top, and that's going to now open up the door for Charles Teed here. Yeah,
McMurray touched that wall many times this race, as we've documented many times during this race. So he's a fan of that turn 2 wall. They might as well name the turn after him. He touches the wall again and there's incident there.
Yeah, it's a little bit of net code, but yeah, unfortunately, he's going to come around. That's going to bring the yellow out. And again, it's just, if it wasn't for, and something I want to go back and mention is just the 51 just does not have the trust or the faith to run that inside line. And honestly, if he was able to, that would have pretty much fixed the issue there. Unfortunately, he would have been able to get by him. So we'll go back here. Let's take another look at the contact here, because as I say, there was a little bit of net code, but again, you can see how high Jim is, and Andrew's already up there too. And so right there, right front to left rear. And then so a very delayed reaction. There's the car saying, "Oh no, I'm not happy here." And so it's unfortunate, both of them up into the wall. And then it did stay green for the moment, but then what happens is Andrew McMurray, that car is just along for the ride, and so then spins back out up on the racing surface. Caution comes out. So, is this a break for DeGroot and Stouffer? Does this cost them a ton of track position under yellow? We're about to find out.
I think that is going to cost them. They have to pit now. As I said, that Nick stays out, Chris comes in, but this is going to hurt Stouffer, and this will be the bellwether for where if Nick and Chris both pit, where they come out. We're running out of laps in this race here, Gael. Like we have 20 laps left in this race, and I don't know what strategy Nick's on right now, but he's sticking it out even some more, and I have to imagine he's less than 10 laps away from needing to pit again. So we'll see where Chris comes out here, because that would be a good indication of how much time both cars would lose. We'll have to watch where Chris crosses the start-finish line at the end of the race here.
I'm going to go back as well, because I think, unfortunately, Gary may have become an innocent bystander. I think he went down to avoid. Oh, yeah, he did some off-roading, and actually, I think he held. Oh, he's still trying to catch it. Oh, I think he actually did get some left rear, or he got some right rear damage. I think it was. You can see that car is just. So I think when he went by that incident, he actually got a bit of a piece of Andrew McMurray. So I'll say we'll watch it one more time here. in slow motion because it looked like he got through clean, but you'll see right here as this car comes across right there. Oh yeah, right into the right rear tire. So that actually broke the rear suspension for Gary Laverne. And I don't know how. First off, how he saved it going as fast as he did with a damaged right rear suspension. I mean, that's some impressive driving by him. But unfortunately, with that all happening, that's dropped him to the tail end of the lead lap. Do need to mention, I believe William Swenson back on the lead lap from the wave around with that yellow. And I think still showing, yeah, Jim Herrick 2 laps down now, I think is the only car a lap or more down still on the racing surface. So, yeah, this is intriguing. And so, yeah, so Stouffer goes from 2nd to 7th, Craig from 3rd to 8th. I really like where AJ Hobson is right now.
Yeah, AJ's put in a really great effort here to be on the right strategy here with Nick needing to pit soon. Stouffer, I don't know if he has enough time to make the moves that he wants to make, but we saw Jim Brooks make those moves on that last restart, trying to come up through the field there on the high side in particular. But I think that Stouffer is going to need to really make some moves and make them fast because we're running out of laps here, as I mentioned before. I think you're right. AJ is sitting in the right spot here to take the win once Nick peels off of the pits. But you got guys like Charles Teed who really want to make a stamp here. He's won a race earlier this season, and I think he wants to show that he can forward again. Rick Sanchez and Seth Gruber, both drivers that are new to the series. They're very hungry for racing up front. I think that both of them are going to try and do their best to keep up. And of course, Casey Pohutsky is someone who's playing around with the high line earlier on. So this will be a very interesting race coming up here to the finish.
And a great recovery drive as well for Casey. So definitely hats off to him. Like I said, he's been sticking out. I say it was a lap down earlier, got the lap back, so he's right back in the thick of it. But yeah, you're right though. I mean, even like to me, especially Charles Teed, he's 4th in points. He was only 1 point behind Gary Laverne, 50 behind Matt Wagner. So I mean, if he can get max points tonight, that's going to propel him right towards the top 2. And of course, now with Craig as well with his pit strategy, he's kind of in a dangerous spot now. Mid-pack here, everybody's going to start being aggressive. So Craig's going to probably have to think about playing it a little bit safe here with the stuff that he's got going on around him. So this could be a really great opportunity for Teed also to just maybe take a couple risks here. I mean, you're going to gain a bunch on Matt. Right now, Gary Laverne's, unfortunately, with his issue he had there, he's fallen back to 11th. So, yeah, there's a lot that's going to happen here over these remaining 18 laps.
And I'm pretty sure that Nick is going to need to pit here within 5-6 laps. So, good on him for trying to stick out some sort of strategy here that we're not really privy to. But it'll be very interesting last 18 laps or so.
You see this time, look how tightly packed these guys are. They are ready to go. The top 5 all just almost touching each other there. Now they're down and away. Nick's going to lead the field again back to the turn 1. And so far, so good. Looks like everybody's nice and clean through the field. 18 to go here. Nick DeGroot leading. AJ Hobson, Charles Teed, Rick Sanchez, and Seth Gruber are top 5.
Yeah, Casey got a little bit wide in turn 2 there. Stouffer couldn't make the move, but Stouffer's got to get on the move really quickly. Let's make up any spots here.
Here comes Haisong. He's going to go after Craig. He's going to grab that spot. Craig's going to fight back on the outside, though. So Craig isn't just going to roll over here. Craig's going to hold on to that 8th spot. But you're right, though. So, again, right off the bat, though, the attack comes from the 18. 99 does have to fight him off, but that cost him a little bit of time off of Stouffer there in front. Oh, big contact for Casey out of 2. Going to hang on to it. That will let Stouffer get by, though.
I'm watching Craig to see if he's going to start making his way forward. He's got Casey on the inside, so put Craig up one more spot. He's going to be P7.
Yeah, so it's a good job by him. You see Jeff Haisong. He's going to try to work over Casey here on the inside. You saw Jim again. He's went right back to the top on the outside, try to get that exit that he can get. But right now, Casey's going to hang on to that spot. Lap time wise, Nick actually just ran his best lap of the race, 24.96. So again, the wick cranked right back up here again. Right now, these 3 are definitely some of the closest battles on track at the moment. Looks like Jeff, will he clear Casey out of 2? Casey's going to get a big run, though, on the exit. Will he cross him over? No, he's going to stay in line here.
And it looks like, as you mentioned, that Nick ran the fastest lap. He's on light fuel right now. Maybe not so much worn out tires because he had been through a couple caution periods. So I think that the tires may not be so bad for Nick up front, but he's got to pit very soon.
Yeah, so that's the question mark. Yeah, when does he have to blink? Here comes Christopher. He got the 0-2 out of through 1 and 2, gets the 5 out of 3. So great job by Chris here. Worked his way back up into 4th. So now he's got a set of sights on Charles Teed, who's just under a second ahead of him. And here comes Craig. He's going to try to follow suit. But again, like I said, I feel like he's got to take a few less risks, though, than what Chris might be able to. Because, again, these are guys that he knows, but he doesn't really race with them week in and week out. So he's got to be a little bit more careful.
The track position just is not there for Stouffer to really make any sort of big moves to get back towards the front again, even on the fresh tires. So I imagine that Chris might get up to Charles. He might be able to race him pretty hard, but Charles is a tough person to get by. So I think it'll be difficult for him to pick up many more spots. It's possible he could get a podium tonight on those fresh tires, but I mean, a podium might be sort of in the cards for him anyway if Nick has to pit.
Yes, I'm watching right now AJ Hobson. He's holding pretty steady here. Is within about a half a second. It's actually closed a little bit this last lap as well. So right now, let's say, but you see right there, they ran the same line through 1 and 2. I think that gave AJ a little bit of dirty air there. But again, AJ pitted at lap 95. We feel like that was easily the magic number to make it to the end. So, and we're coming around here, 10 to go. And like you said, it was lap 76 was the last time Nick DeGroot pitted. This is a 135 lap race. So he's already gone 50 laps on fuel. Again, obviously cautions as well. Could he somehow go almost 60 laps on fuel? Like, it just, I don't see how those numbers could work. But we're going to go back a couple spots because here comes Christopher. He's going to try to work the outside of Teed through 3 and 4. And that car is grippy. He's going to get that spot, and he's going to move up into that podium position.
And you have to wonder if Nick DeGroot pitted with Stouffer, he could be in the same spot here, not having to worry about fuel at the same time. So Stouffer made the best he could out of the situation, and he's made his way back up to the podium right now. But can he make his way back past AJ Hobson, who pitted after Nick DeGroot?
Yeah, there's a 20 lap gap between Hobson and Stouffer's tires. 40 lap gap between DeGroot and Stouffer's tires. So, but right now, like I said, clean air is king, and Nick's definitely made the best use of it. Basically, he and Hobson ran 20 and a 21. Stouffer ran a 17. So definitely a little bit more pace still out of that number 13, but again, hasn't gotten to the full dirty air. As Charles Teed under attack from Craig Forsyth as well.
So we got about 7 laps left in this race. So it's running out of time for Stouffer to do something here, but we're also watching Nick DeGroot. I can't believe he's made the fuel last this long, especially after we saw in that first stint that cars were going about 42, 43 laps. So I'm not sure if Nick can make it, but like I mentioned on the previous yellows, I think he was sitting in a strategy where he just wanted to expect as many cautions as possible, and it's possible he could pull out this win.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a gamble, but again, I mean, when you're in a situation like he is, I think this is the spot where he's like, you know what, yeah, this is the time to take those gambles. So, I mean, really, what AJ and Chris have to do is, I mean, you know they are, but I mean, they just got to try to push Nick as hard as they can. And Stouffer's doing that. He just ran a 25.09. He was 0.2 quicker than the two of them in front. So he's definitely trying to get there here as they head to 5 to go.
We got 5 laps left, and Nick is still staying steady out front. And AJ is not able to really do much. He kind of closes up a tiny bit through 3 and 4, but then finds the dirty air in 1 and 2. And looks like we got Christopher coming up behind the both of them. And I think at some point he's going to have to really try and make a big move here to get by Hobson.
I think he's gonna. I don't even think he's gonna need a big move. I think he's gonna get him through here in 3 and 4. He can keep that thing wound up, stay to the outside. I say Hobson's gonna have to give him room, and then I think he is gonna clear here down the back. He does clear, so move Christopher to second. He's got 3 to go at the line to see if he can catch Nick DeGroot. Is Nick DeGroot having to fuel save possibly in this number 89 car? That's going to be the big question mark, is who's got what left in the tank. Well, I should say does Nick have what's left in the tank to make it happen? Or is he going to have to maybe back down the pace, maybe adjust the fuel map a tiny bit? And could that give the opening that Christopher needs? And look at Chris already. I say DeGroot trying to break the draft a tiny bit there. So I think that tells you everything you need to know.
I think that Nick got very lucky with his fuel strategy this race, because it was definitely not in the cards for him to go 70-something laps, which is about half the race. And we predicted that every car was going to have to make 2 stops here. So great job for Nick to pull this out. I'm not really sure how he was able to save as much fuel as he did, but
we'll see.
I mean, up to the last lap.
I'll say I haven't been able to race with Nick for a while, so I don't know. Let's say how on the dot on the field number he is, because again, I mean, if he has the slightest of sputters through 3 and 4, I mean, Chris is going to be all over him. So we'll have to wait and see. Craig Forsyth's about 0.3 off of AJ. But yeah, white flag is out, and yeah, I mean, right now Nick is looking pretty solid. Doesn't seem like that car's showing any signs of stumbling yet, but he won't feel confident until he's out of 4 here.
I think Nick's going to do it.
He's got it out of 4. Nick DeGroot going to get the win at Texas over Christopher. AJ Hobson. Craig Forsyth going to bring it home in 4th. Charles T rounds out our top 5 just in front of Jeff Heisong. And then Seth Groover, Gary Laverne, Rick Sanchez, Casey Bahutsky will be our top 10 this evening. But if he's just going to rub salt in the wound here, if he does a burnout, I'll have no answers.
I think he's out. He's slowing down very fast, so I don't think he's gonna be able to do any burnout here. But we'll have to see what happens.
I don't know. I think he might be clutching it, or to just try to do a little bit here. So
maybe a mini burnout.
Yeah, it might be. He might be able to get like half a donut. Let's see what he's got in store for us here.
Nope, I think it's dead.
I think he's used everything up. Yep. He had just enough to get there. It was
a valiant effort for sure.
What a job by Nick DeGroot there. Holy cow. So Nick DeGroot, our race winner here this evening. Before we get to the interviews, we'll go ahead and pull up our final results as well, as it will be Nick DeGroot winning by 0.6 of a second over Christopher. AJ Hobson 3rd, Craig Forsyth, Charles T. We mentioned our top 5. Then Jeff Heisong, Seth Groover, Gary Laverne, Rick Sanchez, and Casey Pahutsky there, our top 10. Jim Brooks, William Svensson, 11th, 12th were our lead lap finishers. Jim Herrick there in 13th, 2 laps down. And then, unfortunately, these guys, not the nights they were looking for, with multiple laps down there, like Raphael Reynolds, Andrew McMurray, Taylor Reeves, Eric Peterson caught up in some incidents towards the end, unfortunately. Bill Cawley, and then a few of these other guys, unfortunately, just early retirement for Edson Santos, as well as Yuri Brubacher. And then, unfortunately, Matt Wagner he's going to be gutted over this one, because he wanted to run again. He's going for the championship as well, so this might be the nail in the coffin. We'll have to see. Obviously, still 2 more races after tonight, and then Brad Adams, Joseph DeCiro did not grid as well this evening. So those are the finishers for tonight. So now we got to find some fellas here to chat with. And we are going to start with an AJ Hobson. So let's go hunt him on down here. One of our, like we talked about, one of our guys that was going to try to just maybe spoil the party a little bit. So let's go ahead and grab AJ. Bring him on over here. Say he was going for it all. Going to try to see if he could sneak a win for the part-timers. And there was a point, AJ, where it looked like things were right in your court there. You pitted at 95, I believe it was. And that puts you right at 40 to go. And was that one where it's just like, okay, if this thing just goes green to the end, I know everybody else in front of me has got a pit. I've got the track position of those that are in the same window as me. I mean, what was the thought process? And I mean, yeah, what was the strategy on the fuel and the tires and all that towards the end?
It was exactly what you said. I was trying to, run that race out the rest of the way, because I was catching the top 3 there, and it was going to be tough to pass him, because, I mean, I figured that out after the yellow with Nick. He was just so hard to pass with his clean air. I felt like I had pace, but at some point the tires just fall off enough to where you can maintain speed, but I'm not going to gain anything. But it was tough out there, man. Turn 2 is getting hairy.
Yeah, AJ, it was definitely a nice effort you had there. You had quite a good run in the top 5 for most of the race there. But did you think that there was a possibility to maybe jump on the outside of Nick in turn 1 and 2 or anywhere, or did you just try and kind of follow the most optimal line during your last 20 or so laps there?
Yeah, I was going with the more optimal line, but I don't think the outside would have worked. Honestly, I was getting through the corner as quick as I thought I could without scrubbing any speed or tires, and it was just dirty air. It was a tough setup, very tight car, and I think I brought home the best finish I could.
Did you find that there was a potential to run the car a little bit looser, maybe change the tools a little bit to perhaps put a little bit more weight on the right rear to get some more action there in 1 and 2 or 3 and 4? Or was it just kind of a matter of maintaining position and just trying to outsmart the car up ahead to try and get the position?
I mean, I tried to loosen the car up, but like I said, it just got hairy off of 2, so I didn't want to, jump over the line a little too far and end up in the wall. So I kind of kept it just as loose as I thought it would be, and we got third.
I'll say it was a really good result. As obviously we talked a little bit pre-race. We're like, yeah, I'm going for it and say see what I can get, and yeah, I mean it showed you were one of the few, especially in traffic, where you could make moves in various
yeah.
places out of 2 and through 3 and 4. So yeah, I think these guys might be happy that you just part-timed it this season, because I think otherwise you'd be giving a few of these regulars a run for the money for the title.
We'll be back. We'll be back for some more.
That's what we want to hear. But before we let you go, though, definitely want to give you the floor. Any thanks and shouts for that podium tonight?
Oh, shout out Area 51 putting on a good race on a Tuesday night here, and the boys in the Dark Horse channel there. We try to get a win. I feel like we're so close, and we were close again tonight, but third was as good as I was going to get.
All right, well, great job, man. We'll get you back over to them. But yeah, go enjoy this one. Look forward to chatting with you soon.
Yep. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to jump one spot up higher, and that's going to be this Mr. Chris Stouffer. And Chris, I'm guessing of anybody, you're probably in the most disbelief on the fuel strategy, where it's like there's no way he could make that to the end. And I mean, you made a huge moves to get all the way back up to second there. I mean, is this one of those ones where like, you know what, it is what it is, and I know I did the best I can? Or, I mean, is there some maybe a little bit of lingering frustration? It's like, that was mine. Come on, man.
No, it more of the latter of this. I did try everything I could. That's why I pit there on that last caution and took the tires. I had a feeling Nick could make it on fuel, because I knew with the caution before that I was safe on fuel. So I had a feeling he was going to be able to make it, and I noticed him pedaling it earlier in the run when we had those first couple cautions, because I was in fuel map 5 and really saving a lot. And I noticed, he wasn't pulling away from me, so I knew he had to be saving. But in the end of the day, hats off to Nick. He did save the fuel, and was able to bring it home. I tried everything I could. Passing the leader here at this track is nearly impossible. That's why I pit for the fresh tires, because I figured, maybe guys in front of me getting a wreck, and then I have less people to pass, and I can get up to Nick quicker and possibly make a move. I tried everything I could, though. Tried to get through the field there as fast as I could to catch back up to him, but just didn't have enough time. And if one more lap, he would have ran out of fuel, and I would have needed a few more laps to catch him. So even if I did, I don't know if I would have been able to pass him, but it was good time either way. I had fun.
One thing we definitely noticed during the whole course of your race there, Chris, is that even at the start of the race, your qualifying wasn't as strong as probably you would have hoped, but it seemed like at the start of the race, you were the one car that was starting to move forward. And I think you were trying to use that outside line as best you can. So do you think that the outside line was the key, especially on the fresh tires? And we saw you doing the same thing at the end of the race there after your pit stop. So was the high line the way to go? And did you feel like you were more comfortable on the high line compared to the low line when you were passing all those cars, both in the first stint and in the final stint?
Well, You know me, Andrew. I like to pass on the high side. Don't ask why, but I like the high and wide. Ripping around out there, keeping up the momentum. And yeah, I noticed real early on in the race. That was you know key. It's harder to do in 1 and 2 and keep the momentum up, but you can get a good run off the turn, and that's how I was able to make a lot of the passes going into 3 and 4 on the other end of the track. And then it when your tire started to wear, you'd have to lift down low where I was able to set the car up with the tools um, to be able to keep it flat out on the high side, which I was kind of hoping would you know make more of a difference at the end to catch Nick, but it didn't. But yeah, qualifying, I messed up and actually scraped the wall on my first lap, so I had to reset and only got 1 lap in, and it looked like the second lap was fastest in qualifying. So I was fortunate to start as far up as I was, and it was fun coming out here and doing this again. I haven't been here all season with these guys, so you know, um, yeah,
I'm
Highline way to go.
Well, I'm still stuck on what you said about 1 and 2 because I feel like that 1 and 2, from what I was watching, was actually the easier side of the track to make the move on the outside than 3 and 4, mostly because of the banking you get in 3 and 4. The low line kind of helps you out there. Just the shortest distance around kind of works. So even you mentioned there that if you get the high line right 1 and 2, you can make the run on the inside in 3 and 4. So it was very interesting to see that a lot of the cars on the high side of 3 and 4 were actually able to get the move completed, especially on the exit there, where you have to ride all the way down the quad oval to make sure you get the pass done. So uh, going back to that, did you found yourself more comfortable riding the outside in 3 and 4 and getting the pass done? Is that what you're trying to say?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of a combination, like you said. In 1 and 2, you could drive it in a little bit deeper, or at least I felt like I could drive it in a little bit deeper, and I think that's what helped me carry the momentum on the high side in 1 and 2. But down there in 3 and 4, the car did want to push up towards the wall, especially late in the run. So being up on the high side, you really had the preferred line there, and you keep your momentum up and complete the passes.
Yeah, it was fun watching the varying lines and how kind of who was able to make the different ones work. So no, just a great job tonight, man. Like I said, it was good to have you back, and so you definitely showed again that so you're definitely one to watch when you're in these races. So hopefully, I say we get to see you for these final two after tonight. So before we let you go and enjoy it, though, we definitely want to give you the floor and any thanks and shouts for that runner up tonight.
Shout out to you guys in the booth for broadcasting. Thank you as always. The everybody putting on the league, Craig and Matt, and everybody. I really appreciate it. It's always fun to come out here and race. Shout out to 40 Racewear. Go to 40racewear.com for your gloves, boots, other apparel that they have for sim racing, and it's good stuff. I use it. I suggest checking it out. And wife and kids, thanks for letting me race. As always, love you, honey, and thank you.
All right, great job tonight, man.
Thank you.
So yeah.
Later on, Andrew.
I almost dragged you out of there. I was like, that's not the right person to move. It's gotta be
I'll just
Chris.
go. It's fine.
It's like, no,
Don't mind me.
yeah, no. It's like we don't want to interview this guy anyway. I say because I think we're both disgusted about how much fuel he was able to save. Because I mean, we're literally like, there's no way. Like, there's just no way he's gonna make this fuel number. And I mean, I think Craig's gonna take notes from you after this one, Nick. Because how did you make this happen? Because we're like, there's this, yeah, like we couldn't put our heads around the numbers to that you were able to do there.
Well, the number was that I ran out literally right across crossed the line, and then it started burping. So you can't time it any better than that. And I wish I could say that was on purpose, but I had no idea. I was sweating the whole time. I had fuel map 5, and then Stouffer, he gets in a second there, and I was thinking, oh, I can run fuel map 5 to the end, and I'll be fine. But then when he gets around AJ, I'm thinking, okay, I gotta just go here. And man, that was as close as it gets. I needed those 3 cautions. I was trying to do the math in my head. I'm like 1, 2, 3, 3 cautions. I think will get me there. 4 cautions definitely, and of course we had exactly 3. So I had to game the rest out and clean air. You're burning more out front. So yeah, I don't know how much or how long we went there, like 60 laps maybe or something like that. But it was a lot, and those tires were smoked, and that tank was empty.
I mean, that it in order for that to work, you have to be saving the right amount of fuel as the yellow flag waves, not be catching up to the pace car too fast. So that all that kind of comes into effect, especially when you're trying to do a fuel save run like that. And yeah, you're trying to predict what the caution situation is going to be once the round robin of cautions begin there. So that it's incredible, honestly, what you're able to do there. Especially the main thing I want to ask you is, how did you feel like you were going to save 60 whatever laps it was after your final pit stop there, especially on that first green flag run? Everyone seemed to be coming in around the lap 43, 44, 45 area, which gave me the indication right off the bat that it was not possible to do anything more than the 45 laps that we had set out at the start of the race. And did you feel like you might have been in over your head during any of those pit stops, that maybe that this will be the last one and then I'll have to do a splash at the end?
See, that's the fun part about not running for the championship. You don't have to worry about it. So I just said, you can't pass the leader for the most part in clean air. I have the lead. I'm going to hang on to this thing for as long as I can, and hopefully luck and the cautions fall into my favor. And that's just where I was at. If I was running for the championship, I would have pitted right at that second caution, I think it was, when Craig and all them pitted. I would have 100% pitted there. But I was in a position where I'm like, you have the lead. You pretty much can't pass the leader in clean air, so go for it. Hopefully we get the cautions. And now that I'm reliving it in my head, there was that moment. I'm not sure what happened, but they delayed the restart because there was an incident somewhere in the back under caution. And without that, I'm out of fuel. I'm a lap short. So a little bit of luck, a lot of cautions, and a lot of fuel saving got us there.
And it's one of those things too. We saw you qualify at the pole position there tonight, and whenever you show up here, you're one of the most successful drivers in this series. And right off the bat, both Gael and I were saying that this is not going to be a fuel save race. You're here for a one-off, and you're going to go out there out front, not do any fuel save shenanigans and do anything like that. So right off the bat, we already knew that this was going to be a race flat out from beginning to end, and you proved that. So I think it's interesting that you're able to not only just hold the lead for the whole race, but then also kind of dictate what your fuel strategy is going to be going forward for the whole entire thing. So I think that's incredible that you're able to do that.
Yeah, I don't think I had to pass a single car under green flag conditions there. I don't think I had to pass a single car for position. So it was very helpful getting that pole position, and it made my race a whole lot easier.
Wow, that was a hell of a job, man. It was great to see you back. Say some of the other guys were like, that damn Nick guy again. But no, a really good run. I'd say, and yeah, I mean, that tells you again, these things aren't easy to win, and how much you dug strategy wise and everything to still pull it off in the end. So it was great to have you back. And I was saying, it was a really good run for you and a great result, obviously. So yeah, a lot of fun to see, and definitely want to give you the floor though. Any thanks and shouts for that win here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I just want to congratulate Chris Stouffer there, because that was a heck of a drive to come back late with those fresh tires back through the field. And even if I had enough fuel, if there was a couple more laps, he was probably going to get me with those tires, because he was absolutely flying. So props to him for that comeback. But as always, thank you, Factory Motorsports, KobeMoore.com, Canvas Shoes, Motorsport.com, everybody else who supports us. It's fun to pop it in, running a one-off, not worrying about points or anything like that. And yeah, I think I'll do maybe next week or the week after that before the season's over.
Well, we always love to have you, man. So go enjoy this one. I'll say good job running the field to perfection there. And I'll say we'll just say that's exactly how you planned it, and it was perfect. So
Exactly.
but no, hell of a job, man, and definitely definitely love to have you more the rest of the way.
Yep. Thank you guys. As always, it's fun.
All right, Andrew, that is our race winner, Mr. Nick DeGroot. And yeah, so, and it's funny, he even mentioned that one incident there at the very end where where the contact during the pit stop on the one to go. So that one just little honest mistake that, like I said, we've all been there, done that. That could have been the little difference that got him the win here tonight. We saw a similar one where there was where we had a kind of an untimely yellow that maybe helped Craig get some fuel to make it to the end. So you never know, and saying you gotta kind of take any opportunities you have to make these things happen. And say Nick nailed it just right on the dot tonight.
I think that these races, the more and more we go on in this season, there's more stuff that surprises us and stuff that we really never expect. And I never would have expected that Nick would have made it to the end there. I was certain that he was going to have to come in for a splash of fuel. And like he mentioned, there was that one incident at the back of the field that extended that caution for one more lap, and that made all the difference for him. So hats off to him there for definitely doing what he can there to keep the lead, or get the lead, take the lead, keep the lead, and then go on to win the race. So nice job for Nick there.
Yeah, no, that was a great one. So, but yeah, we're down to the final two after tonight. So next week we'll be at Kentucky, followed by Auto Club. And so yeah, so unfortunately with the issues that Matt had tonight and Craig getting that top four finish, he jumps up to 91 points over Matt Wagner. Again, you never feel completely safe because again, you never know, he could have a hiccup like Matt did on the connection side, but kind of basically has about a race in hand safely. Charles T did jump up to third to now 123 out of lead, 127 back is Gary Laverne. So they're still only 4 points apart between the two of them. And Yari actually still holds on to that fifth spot because Casey didn't have as good of a night as he was hoping for. So yeah, so those two still battling for positions as well. However, Jeff Highsong starting to creep up to the mix there as well, as he's now only 7 points behind Casey. And of course, Christopher, his great result as well, jumps him 2 spots into 8th. So again, these guys are going to try to get every spot they can in the points championship, even if it's not for the overall title. But yeah, Andrew, always a blast doing these with you, man. Appreciate you hopping on for these. And yeah, 2 more to go. And like I said, we're not going to say it's a done deal. And again, I mean, the nice part is we're not here just for the championship. We're here for the racing and go for see who goes for the podiums and the wins. Because again, nobody's just going to roll over for those guys, and that's what makes this fun for the season-long format.
Well, another thing you have to realize tonight is that without Matt around, Craig was having to also be an admin at the same time. So if there was any issues on track that he had to kind of rectify or anything like that, he might have been a little bit distracted in this situation where this could happen again next week if Matt has more problems, and that could bring someone else into the fold to perhaps challenge him for the championship. So I think that that's something to also consider, that perhaps Craig didn't have the night he wanted tonight just because he may have had to deal with some administrative things during the race and as the race went on, which may have possibly just kind of kept his attention somewhere else. But Craig is someone that we always picture to be up front and doing well in these races. So I think he'll bounce back next week and he'll extend his points lead even more. We'll have to see what happens, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, no, that's what makes it fun. So, yeah, like I said, everybody that watches us, supports us, thank you all so much for being a part of it. We will be back in 2 nights' time on Thursday night for the Super Speedway Xfinity Series season, or I should say playoff opener. And then, of course, back to Sunday. And like I said, we'll be here through the rest of the season. I don't think there's any more breaks, so we'll run straight through. And yeah, so we'll be crowning some champions in just a couple weeks' time. So, Andrew, again, as always appreciated. A lot of fun to do these with you. And yeah, everybody watching again, thank you so much. And until next time, take care, stay safe, have a good night, and we'll see you all on Thursday.